Hail and welcome back to yet another episode of Midgard Musings. Thanks so much for joining me again today. My name is Jesse, and I'm the host here on this channel. If this is your first time here, and thank
Hello. Hello, folks. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages and of all kinds, hail and welcome. Patrick, Kingdom of Vinland. Hail and welcome to the live stream, ladies and gentlemen. If you don't mind, share the video around because you never know when one of these might just pop up. Hello, Odin's Beard Woodworking. Hello to you. Hail and welcome. Hail and welcome to the live stream. Hope you're all doing well. If you don't mind, and staying healthy and strong and happy, most importantly. Very random live stream. Like, what's even that? These things don't happen that often. What an amazing evening it's been, says Patrick Walsh. Well, tell us about it, man. Tell us about your amazing evening, because I would love to hear an amazing story, and I would love to tell amazing stories. So if you have questions, if you have comments, if you have thoughts, if you have ideas, if you have things that you would like to hear from me here while I'm live streaming, not doing anything particularly exciting except for just, listening to some Dunheim music. Perhaps you are into that and I need to turn off notifications on something, so give me just a minute. Don't want you to be distracted by the noises of things that don't pertain to things that we're doing right here. You know what I mean? Jelly bean. Jelly beans are good. They're a great candy. They're chewy and they're sweet and they're delicious. Hope everyone else is having a good evening. Yes, absolutely, Kingdom of Vinland. And I want to say thank you to the folks who just popped in and started saying hi. I don't do these things regularly or scheduled at all whatsoever. So this is a impromptu Friday night sort of thing. About to go on a trip out of town. Been feeling out of sorts. Out of sorts, you say, Patrick, huh? Well, you've been traveling a lot here lately, it seems. Which is okay. That's great. Traveling of sorts, whether it be physical travel, spiritual travel, mystical work, that sort of thing is great. So, good luck on your travels. I hope that it, bodes well for you, and that you have glad and good tidings to carry with you wherever you're going on your travels. So enjoy. Good luck on your travels. I hope that it. But yeah, guys, I've been doing these weekly podcasts on the Random Heathen Ramblings podcast. I hope you guys have been enjoying those. But I've not done one of these live streams in a hot minute, as they say, in the South, in the dirty South. A hot minute. I don't know if that's an actual measurement of time, because I've only heard it used in the South, and I'm from New York. So I don't know what an actual hot minute is. Is it 13 minutes? Is it 17 seconds? Is it a minute and 1 second? Is it 61 seconds, right? I don't actually know if a hot minute has ever been measured. But if it has, then I'm unaware of it, and here we are. We're here streaming after a hot minute of not doing so. Leaving early tomorrow, won't be there long. saw you live and had to drop by. A true friend. Well, thank you, Patrick. Hail and thank you. You know, it's nice to know that people have got your back. And if you guys don't mind, share the live stream. I don't know how long I'm going to be streaming live. But I'm here. And, you know, I'm here till just, you know, however long. You know, so if there's people out here that are not doing much of anything else and want to sit here and chat for a bit, I'm here for it. So, hope you've all had a good week. I've had a busy week. I'm here for it. So, can you guys hear what I'm hearing? Hope you've all had a good week. Can you hear what I hear? Yeah, it's coming through. I can sense it. I can sense the vibrations, the good vibrations. You know what I'm saying? Hot minute is definitely relative. Relative to what? What is even that? Norse colonization of Vinland stopped after the 10th century. The Norse made voyages to the New World for centuries after for lumber. Given it was for lumber, and voyages were probably to the mainland. Okay. Well, if that's what they did, then that's what they did. Sounds like an awesome time. You know, the price of lumber has skyrocketed here lately. Because the price of everything is skyrocketed. You know what I mean? Am I doing well, Patrick? I am doing well enough. I'm doing well enough. Shade it out. It's been a rough week. Yeah, man. Thanks, Matt. Matt at Odin's Beard Woodworking. Always a solid fella. Let me move this up a little bit because it seems to be not liking the background. I put my hooded ensemble on, which you know, the camera doesn't do much justice of. But this whole ensemble is something that my wife equipped me with, and I love it. Puts me in a state of mind, you know what I mean? Sometimes you got to get in that heathen state of mind, and it's not just a heathen thing. It's a mystical, connecting to the other side, connecting to some other side, whatever other side it is. Could be the left side, could be the right side, could be the upside down side. You know, could be the inside out. Could be that you're wanting to be. You want to come in from the out, right? Whatever side it is, whatever dimension it is. Anyway, the cloak does the thing. It puts you into that frame of mind, that state of mind. You know what I mean? To get out there. Well enough is good enough. Yeah, absolutely right. But rough is good. Rough is good in so many ways. And I talked about this on on this week's podcast, you know, of how rough times temper us. Adversity breeds worth, my friends. Oh yeah, Vinland was and is now East Canada. Or the Great White North, as they may call it. Newfoundland, yes. Beautiful country up there. I've never been. I've seen pictures, of course. I've never actually been there, but I'm from New York. I'm from the north, as far north as I can get. Not as far north as New York can get. Matt is even further north than us in Vermont. But he's not even from Vermont. He just is there right now. But you know, adversity breeds worth, like I'm saying. And man, but boy, oh boy, like that fire, that tempering fire, be a real bitch, man. Like it really can. David's not doing so hot and if the meds he's got today don't help by noon tomorrow, we have to take him to the big ER in the city. Oh boy. Well, Matt, I'm sorry to hear that David's not doing well. Send him our love. You know, let him know that Jesse at Midgard Musings loves him and hopes that he feels better. You know, the world is in a weird place, folks, and when mature adults, people that have lived life in hard times and have endured that adversity and those hard times are conditioned for it, right? But we have children, we have young people, we have kids now. My Godhi's daughter, Matt, I'm not sure how old David is, but he seems to be right around the age, or your twins for that matter, right? David and Ivy, they are seemingly around the same age as my Godhi's daughter, and it is such a hard time for children to be alive now. Like, the world is so crazy, and existence is so complex in the world in the way it is right now. But these are saga times, so to be able to endure, to be able to live and survive in such epic times. 8 next week. Okay, so they're a little bit older than Dingo's daughter, just a little bit, like a year or two maybe at the most. But I see that, I see that with her, and they're right around the same. They're in that same age bracket, that same generational time frame where they're at that moment of their life where they're beginning to really see things about the world, but they don't understand things about the world. They just know that it's kind of messed up. You know what I mean? Hard times create strong men, like Kingdom of Vinland says. Hard times create strong people, right, man? Like, it's not even about gender or whatever. Like, it's strong. Hard times create strong people, and I don't want to take away from the integrity, the tenacity, the strength of all types of people, whether you're man, whether you're woman, whether you're man, it's 2022, whether you're non-binary, whatever. Like, I'm not here to sit here and talk about any of that to the degree of excluding people, but tough times forge tough people. I'm recently getting into this TV show. I say TV show, but it's a streaming series called 1883. I guess it kind of prequels the Yellowstone series. It's streaming on Paramount Plus, and it's basically about the pioneers that moved out of, like, from the Texas area up to Oregon, the Oregon Trail, right? And for like people like myself and Matt and probably Patrick and you guys played the Oregon Trail game. You know what I'm saying? And man, it was tough on the game, right? Because, like, so-and-so died from a snake bite. So-and-so got bit by a rattlesnake, Got to adjust the old hood here, baby. Got to adjust the mantle, get back into the state of being, you know what I'm saying? Transcend and conquer. We'll do something, man. We'll definitely do something, like Patrick says. But yeah, man, like, that whole thing was crazy. The game, right, was crazy, right? Because you had to constantly slow down. You couldn't go too fast because people get sick and they die, and you got to take care of it. You couldn't die before you made it to Oregon. But this this series, right, 1883, so many good things about it that I can find heathen worldview elements about. Because again, like, I was watching it, and these people who basically just uprooted and left, and they're going out to Oregon for to find better opportunities. You know what I'm saying? They were complaining. They were saying, well, we were this, we were that. I was a farmer, I was a blacksmith, I had this, I had that. And the Sam Elliott character, and that man, like, don't even get me started. Like, that guy was just born to be a badass, man. Like, he is. If you look up the word Drenger in the dictionary, you're gonna find see also Sam Elliott, because this dude epitomizes the definition of Drenger. But he goes, you're pioneers. That's all you are. You're pioneers, and that's the thing about getting out into nature. That's the thing about getting out and doing a thing that titles, privilege, all that kind of stuff is stripped away. You are the basic thing of whatever it is. You are a human being. You are a living being that nature doesn't care. The wild doesn't care what title you had, how important you were, how much money you make, how much possessions you own, or things that you carry with you, right? You are simply a pioneer. You are a person. You are a thing. You are a moving, living being that has to survive. You know. Good night, Patrick. Good to see you, and thank you for joining, and thank you for everybody that's here. You know, Odin's Beard and Kingdom of Vinland and all you guys. Share it around. Spread the love. Get some people in here. Let's talk. Let's get visceral. Let's talk about some things. You know what I'm saying? But it's a. So getting back to that program, that show, right, where he's talking about like you're pioneers. You're not anything else. The wild doesn't care what you were in the city, in civilization. You know, you're part of the wild now, and the wild doesn't care. And it kind of goes back to the whole concept of Inengard and Utengard, which are not necessarily old heathen concepts or practices or concepts, but the concept of the inner and the outer, right? Inner is safety. Within the yard, within the confines of the yard, within the Inengard is safety and order and protection and all that. And outside of it, Utengard is outlawry and you know, the reckless abandon. It's the law of the jungle kind of thing. You're subject to it. It's not about what you like, what you want, what you think you know. It's about what happens, man. The last episode that I just watched, you know, like these people are moving across the plains, heading into the Rockies or whatever, and you know, a tornado just rips across the plains randomly. You know, there's a storm that just pops up out of nowhere. You know, and these people just didn't have any sort of idea of safety or whatever. Like, you're literally at the mercy of nature at that point. And I guess the whole point of what I'm trying to say is, like, you know, when we talk about adversity, when we talk about the hard times, when we talk about existing in the world in 2022, you know, there's plenty of storms that come through. There's plenty of tornadoes that rip through our lives. I've been exposed to those kinds of storms. We all are exposed to different storms and for different, you know, different things. And it's either gonna eat you up, it's either gonna destroy you, or you're gonna hunker down, you're gonna find shelter, and you're gonna make it through and move on to the next stage of the game, move on to the next part of the battle, as it were. And it, you know, does it always have to be that way? Will it always be that way? Who knows, right? But when you traverse these waters, when you're out here dealing with these things, you know, you never know what's going to pop up. You never know when that tornado is just going to rip out of the sky and tear apart your camp, right? But you do the best you can when it happens. You prepare as best you can, and you know. And that was the neat thing about watching that episode, right? These people were literally out in the middle of nowhere. This tornado's coming, right? What do you do? What do they do? They let loose their cattle. They let loose their possessions. They unhooked their carriage or wagons, rather, not carriages, but wagons. Like, they unhooked their wagons, you know, and they let their horses go, and they just took what they had, right, their loved ones, and they laid down in the lowest part of the plain that they could find, and just hope that the tornado didn't rip over them and kill them, you know. And they survived, but it was like a matter of like reaction. You gotta think on your feet, sort of thing. What's up, Alex? Says been a while. And howdy. Yeah, it has been a while, and it'll probably be a while again. So glad you caught this one, because it's random, and just wanted to hop on here and rap a bit, you know, check in on everybody, see how everyone's doing. Thank you guys for continuing to support the podcast, because that's right now the only consistent content that I'm comfortable with releasing. You know, these live streams don't have any sort of cadence or schedule, and I also don't have any other opportunity right now to put out anything else. So I appreciate everyone's support of the Random Heathen Ramblings podcast. If you guys haven't checked it out, check the playlist for that, and share this out. You know, if you guys have heathen groups, pages, Twitter feeds, I don't care, whatever it is, share it around. You know, let people know that we're streaming live right now. We're talking about just some random heathen things. I was just talking about the show 1883 that's streaming on Paramount Plus right now, which is, you know, a Western, but seeing some of the heathen type elements that exist there, you know. Nature is wild. Nature is unforgiving. And when you put yourself into nature, you are putting yourself into that unforgiving, wild environment, you know. So to come into it with a sense of control or with an idea that you have any control is a bit misguided. You are at the mercy of whatever happens. You're at the mercy of the storms. You're at the mercy of the sun, the wind, the rain, and everything. And that's kind of life, man. That's kind of how life is. Like, even the best laid plans or the best made plans, you know, don't always pan out. And you got to be flexible. You got to be like water in a way. It's like Bruce Lee says, you know, be water, because the water moves around the rock, it crashes through the rock, it ebbs, it flows, the tides, everything, you know. Be like water. And that's how it is. That's how it can be. But how's everybody else, man? I can sit here and talk out into the void and listen to some music, some good stuff, some good Donheim tunes to keep things interesting. Talk out into the void. But appreciate everybody's involvement, inclusion. It's a late Friday night, and I get it. It's way late, you know. For most of us in the world, it's bedtime, sleepy time. But appreciate everybody. But I'm not there yet. One of those early to bed, early to rise. What's the name of the what's the rhyme? I don't know. Something like early to bed, early to rise. I don't know. But I do that. I get late to bed, and then I'm early to rise. And then I'm kind of like just vibing all week, you know. 5-6 hours of sleep is a good night for me during the week. So the weekends, when I'm not having to do much of anything, is recuperation, recharging. And then I'm kind of like just vibing all week, you know. Getting back into that healthful state. So I hope everybody's staying healthy, and I hope everybody's, you know, staying safe out here. Matt's looking at Facebook Reels, what and how to do it. Man, you've been busy. You've been busy with those, you know. And that's like the future of social media, right? Because ever since like TikTok or whatever came out, it really actually started, I think, back like in the early 2000s or whatever with Vines. Vines was the thing back in the day, you know. Short, like little 5-second blips of whatever. And now, you know, there's the whole TikTok thing, and now big social media platforms like Facebook is like, and Instagram even is doing, you know, stuff like that. These reels, they call them. They keep it real, and then, you know, whatever. I think YouTube has something like that now too. We got shorts on YouTube where you can film like a minute short videos, and they're called shorts, and they're 60 seconds long, and it's just, you know, whatever you can fit into a 60-second clip, kind of like a commercial. But they seem to be very engaging, like, or you know, the algorithm recognizes like that's and that's so alarming to me, right? Like, that's so surprising to me that people are only engaged for the duration of a 30-second clip or a minute-long clip, and then they get bored. You know, I do these podcasts every week for like an hour, 30 minutes, 40 minutes. My reach is absolute garbage. You know, I was seeing 20, 30-minute videos, you know, last year, you know, reaching hundreds of people, and now it's like, you know, 20, 30, 40 people. What's wrong? You know, what's wrong with people? They don't have enough time. They don't care. They don't value the time. It's like, you know what, you just want a quick laugh. You just want a quick ha whatever. It's ridiculous. It's silly. But it's wild, man. It's definitely wild. Wonder what kind of powers a magic gun would have. Infinite ammo. You know, I wonder that too. Like, what do you want? Do you want unlimited ammo? But what if your unlimited ammo is only, you know, a .177 caliber pellet? Would you rather have that, or would you rather have, you know, 5 rounds an hour and they're 50 caliber rounds? What's more powerful? Would you rather have unlimited ammo to pelt somebody with for repeatedly and just wear them down, or would you rather have a limited source of ammo but a large caliber round? What would be the most powerful? What's the most powerful in that aspect? You know, it's an interesting concept. It's an interesting thing to think about. Putting out 20 a day doesn't get views. Well, I'm glad that you're getting some revenue off of it, man. I'm glad that you're, you know, working the system and hustling that way. Like, that's solid. That's great. And 20 a day doesn't get views. Time-lapse carving, 200 to 300 views, but the prayer totem gets a 1.6 thousand. It's crazy, right? Like, you know, that's solid. That's great. You almost can't measure it. It's so, and that's really the challenge, right? Because look, we live in the information age, we live in the digital age, we live in the social media era. You know, it's not about how hard you work, it's about how smart you hustle. It's not about coming home and being tired after, you know, 10, 12 hours of hard physical labor anymore. This ain't the industrial age. You know what I'm saying? It's not about going and working in a factory and busting your ass and sweating your ass off for, you know, 10, 12, 14, 16 hours a day. It's all up here now. How smart are you? How do you figure out the workings of the social media algorithms or whatever? And is it even measurable? Can you even figure it out? Because like Matt's saying, you know, like you do like time-lapse carving, which is cool. I think that's really neat. Like you see like, you know, 2 hours worth of carving condensed into, you know, 30 seconds or a minute long worth of content, you know. But the thing that gets the most amount of views is a wood carving of a god with a huge penis. That says a lot. That says a lot about the fucking state of this world. You know? Oh well. I guess that's where we are. That's why the aliens haven't visited us, man. That's why, you know, Area 51, whatever, doesn't get a whole lot of stuff anymore. Back in the 60s and 70s when it was like hopping out there, you know, they were like, yeah, man, in like 50 years, people are going to be like on top of their game. They're going to be, you know, they're going to have cured cancer. They're going to have doing all these things. No, and then the aliens show up 50 years later and they're like, what are you guys doing now? And we're goofing off in front of our phones for the views. because they pay us for it. Really? That's the advancement that you made in the last 50 years, where you were figuring out cures for diseases and all that. This is where you are right now. Like, why did you stop advancing as a species? Because they pay us for it. Really? It's no wonder the aliens don't fuck with us anymore. It's crazy. I mean, I wouldn't. If I was an extraterrestrial, being or whatever, and I made it to another planet and I saw this shit, I'd be like, let them have it. It's crazy. This ain't worth my time. This ain't worth trying to populate or invade or whatever. These clowns are just goofing off half the time. So pulled the Fenrir totem out of Witch Haven's, and it got 56,000 views. I mean, those are impressive numbers. Like, don't get me wrong, man. Like 56,000, a million, 1,500. You know what I mean? Like, that's a lot of people that see stuff. It is. It's nothing short of impressive. And I don't mean to come across as like desensitized or whatever to it. I think that's impressive. And I'm a very analytical person because of my job. I talked about this in the last podcast that came out. All I do is look at numbers and metrics. And it's like, well, why are the metrics this way? But that ain't my job. I don't make money off of this stuff. Not sustainably. You know what I mean? Like, I don't earn my living off of any of this. So I don't. If I did, I'd probably have lost a lot of the hair that I have, and the remaining bits of it would be gray. Flat out. Straight up, and that's the truth. And that's not where I want to be. That's not what I want to do. The reason aliens haven't visited us is because we've become so degenerate. Where's the lie, though? Where's the lie, though? We're shaking our asses for TikTok and getting paid for it. Get that money, baby. The almighty dollar. You know what I'm saying? That almighty dollar. It speaks. It does. It really does. I mean, shit. Like, I got a job. I have a career. I have things that I need to do to pay the bills, and it matters. It does. Like, we live in a society. We live in a society. We live in a society. It really does. Where that dollar speaks. You know what I mean? And if you want to be freed of that, you've got to pretty much just cut yourself off from it completely. And it ain't like a gentle, gradual release. I mean, I'm talking about you got to rip that Band-Aid off, baby. You got to just rip that sucker clean off and go off grid. Like, it's not, maybe there's a tactical way to do it. Maybe there's a smart way to do it. But I feel like, if you're going to go that route, and it's you can't be stuck in the middle anywhere. There's no gray area with that. You're either in it or out of it. And if you're out of it, you're 100% out of it. You're like the Amish, pretty much, no social media, no electronics, or whatever. It's all naturally resourced power and energy. Solar, water, all that kind of stuff. No social media, no electronics. Your beard's turning gray. Yeah, man. You're getting what, into your 30s now? I mean, you're in the 30s now. I have nowhere near the epic beard growth that some of you guys have. All of my hair growth has maintained in the north of me. Like, so my hair is amazing and it's great. But as far as my facial hair goes, I would say like 80% of it is gray at this point. Well, what you see right here, this little goat right here, 75 to 80% gray. I would say like 80% of it is and I'm not even 40 yet. On the bright side, we can make our own UFOs now. Yeah, man. I mean, drones.
75 to 80% gray.
Give it a decade or more, right? I mean, we got drones that we can captain and pilot in the atmosphere.
On the bright side.
What about drones that we can take into the, you know, I look at the what is it, the Hulk Hogan, right? Is it, where are we gonna go, man? Is it the ionosphere? Is it the stratosphere? We're just gonna go, man, and we're gonna take those freaking drones and we're gonna fly off into fucking Mars, I guess, one day. I don't know.
Hulk Hogan, right?
And then the aliens will be like, here we go. The humans did it. They're flying their own spacecrafts now.
Go, man, and we're gonna take those freaking drones and we're gonna.
All you have is a mustache
Mars, I guess, one day. I don't know.
and maybe the inkling of a goatee. Okay. Well, I mean, it doesn't make or break you, but it is what it is. It is what it is. Okay. I don't know. Imagine, right, just taking a drone with a camera on it and making it past the Earth's atmosphere, getting outside of, you know, getting into what they say outer space. Imagine it, you know. I mean, and why not? We've got satellites, we've got, you know, NASA, whatever out here, you know, perusing around the galaxy. Getting outside of some of those images that we've seen recently. I say recently, like within the last year or so, of Mars, you know. I'm like, are you sure that that's not New Mexico? Because I've been out in New Mexico. Hell, I've been to Utah. Are you sure that picture that you just sent to me from the Mars rover is not Moab, Utah? Are you sure about that? Because that looks a lot like Moab, Utah, bro. Like stuff like that, right? But what if it was like, you know, they're out there just, you know, that drone, that rover or whatever, just cruising around, right? And a Martian, an alien, whatever, an extraterrestrial life form is like out there, like, you know,
but what if it was like, you know,
I don't know, harvesting their crops, and it's like they look and they're like, and we get a picture of that.
An extraterrestrial life form is like out there.
If it's out there, why haven't we got it yet?
I don't know. Harvesting their
Why not? If we're that far out there, if we're on Mars, if we're taking pictures of Mars and it looks like, you know, Sierra Nevada. If it looks like, you know,
if it's out there, why haven't we got it yet?
The deserts of Arizona. If it looks like,
why not? If we're that far out there,
you know, the canyons of Moab, Utah, whatever. If it looks like that, what it, you know, where's the life form? Where's it at?
The deserts of Arizona.
I don't know. Wouldn't it be cool? Wouldn't it be cool?
You know, the canyons of Moab,
or lovely, or whatever the Beach Boys said.
If it looks like that, what it, you know, where's the life?
But
where's it at?
Yeah, I don't know.
Wouldn't it be cool?
Maybe we'll get there someday.
Wouldn't it be cool? Or lovely.
Maybe we'll see it someday. Maybe they'll show us a thing or two.
But yeah, I don't know.
Maybe we'll feel it. Maybe it'll just happen. Maybe it'll just be like a meteorite that just. I watched that. What the hell was that?
Maybe we'll see it someday.
Show series, whatever it was. Was it everybody was like trying to warn the world that like a meteorite is coming in, and it's like a massive meteorite that's gonna like wipe out the Earth's population. What the hell was the name of that show? Movie, whatever.
Everybody's like trying to warn
I don't know.
the world that like a meteorite is coming in, and it's like
Maybe that's what it'll take.
That's gonna like
Maybe it's just gonna take another catastrophic, you know,
What the hell was the name of that show?
life-altering, population-altering event to just change everything again. It happened before.
Maybe that's what it'll take.
It's just a matter of time before it happens again,
Maybe
right?
It's just gonna take another catastrophic, you know,
We're gonna be here for it.
life.
You'll probably live stream it
Population altering
on your TikToks and on your reels and on your Facebooks and on your Twitters and on your this and that. You're gonna stream it. Here comes the meteor, guys.
Again, right? We're gonna be here for it. You'll probably live stream it. On your
Yeah,
TikToks,
Deep Impact. I think
on
that's the
your-
name of it.
your
That might have
reels,
been. It had what's his name? It had Jonah Hill.
You're gonna stream it.
Meryl Streep was
comes
the
the meteor,
president
guys.
of the United States. you know. the was it Leonardo DiCaprio
I think that's the name of it.
was in there, and he was an absolute fuckboy in there. Like he just like randomly just starts screwing around on his wife
The United States, you know.
with no context. Like it's the most random, stupidest show, movie, film, production, whatever. I'm like, it's like the Wish version of a Quentin Tarantino film. You know how Quentin Tarantino films like have that certain feel, that certain vibe, that certain aura, if you will. This movie was like that, but if you bought it off of Wish. It was like you missed the mark in so many ways. You had the potential to really make it something, and you went down the dumb road, you know. Loaded's Beard West says NASA has paid 10 to 15. What is it? NASA has paid 10 to 15 religious higher ups to see what would happen when they do tell us aliens real. Who's the religious higher up that NASA has paid or has hired? We're talking about like the Pope, the Archbishop, Desmond Tutu. Is he even still alive? The Dalai Lama, Mother Teresa. I know she's dead. Which 10 to 15 religious higher ups have they talked to, and how come they ain't talked to me? Hello, I've got a hooded robe. Come on, pay me. I'll talk to your aliens. I'll get up there in the freaking ionosphere or where the heck ever, you know. I've traveled the realms, boy. Been out there. I've looked at the moon and I've spoken to her, and she's a powerful woman. She don't mess around. But the trees are cool. The trees tend to be a bit more engaging. Some of them are kind of jerks. The rocks move like lava, but that's just what rocks do. The stars breathe, and the moon moves. So NASA, if you're out there listening, and you want the real deal to get out here into the planet systems and in the galaxies or whatever, and try to connect with extraterrestrial life forms, I'm right here. Hit me up. That ain't gonna happen. Wouldn't be surprised if the Pope was one of them. Yeah, man. I mean, the Roman Catholic Church, they've had their filthy paws in all kinds of conspiracies and things since, you know, what? 40 AD? I don't know. Rome, man. Babylon the Great. Tell me I'm wrong. Tell me I'm wrong. That Rome is in Babylon, and that Babylon is in Rome. Tell me I'm wrong. Tell me I'm wrong. Tell me I'm wrong. That I'm wrong when I say that if you read the book of Revelations, that the beast, the great beast that is mentioned, right? Tell me that I'm wrong, that the beast of Revelations is not a Roman Catholic Pope. Tell me I'm wrong. That the beast, the great beast that is mentioned. Tell me that I'm wrong, that the beast, which is the Antichrist in the Revelations, the book of Revelations, is not a Roman Catholic Pope, or was a Roman Catholic Pope that will be reincarnated and all this kind of stuff. Tell me I'm wrong. Tell me if you want to get into the mythology, the lore, the crazy aspects of all that. I think John at the time, you know, that the guy that wrote, you know, authored whatever, the book of Revelations, I think he had some really good fucking shrooms, man. I think he was on a trip that the one for the millennia, man. Not even one for the year, one for the centuries, one for the decade, one for the millennia. Whatever the hell he got a hold of, Give me some of that, bruh. Like, give me some of that. Send me off on that spaceship, dude. Talking about a beast with 7 heads and 10 horns and, you know, eyes and all this kind of stuff.
One for the millennia. Whatever the hell he got a hold of.
That Mesopotamian green, baby.
Send me off on that spaceship, dude. Talking about
That Israeli ganja. You know what I'm saying? Not fooling around, but fooling around. Okay. What is even that? What is even that to heathenry? I'll tell you what it is. It's murder. It's the fact that if you don't believe in that, and if you don't accept it, and if you don't know that you're going to be a part of that eventually, the great rapture and all that kind of stuff, that because of that, you're not going to live eternal life. You're doomed to eternal damnation. Rah, rah, rah.
You don't believe in that.
You dirty, filthy heathens.
You don't know that you're going to be a part of that eventually, the great rapture and all that kind of stuff. Because of that, you're not going to.
But anyway, Kingdom of Vinland, you're right. The Pope was probably part of it. Hell, Rome probably funded it. Where's the lie in that? They got all kinds of crazy money. You know. But what's really what else is really going on? I mean, I'm off here talking about some ridiculousness. MTV ain't got nothing on you, boy, over here. You know, they don't. So ridiculousness is out here and talking about some wacky stuff, and I'm over here spitting mad truth. Kingdom of Vinland, appreciate you commenting, man. Like, I'm over here just spitting off just random stuff, and I appreciate the engagement. Let's see. Kingdom of Vinland says also there is a thing in the Vatican called the Gates of Hell. Thank you. Have you been there? Have you seen it? Have you walked through the gates of hell? Probably not, because you ain't going to get into the Vatican without either a lot of money or without the right connections, or you ain't going to, come in there on your knees. Have you been there? And I mean that both literally and figuratively, if you catch my drift. Because them Roman Catholics, man, they some freaky motherfuckers, dude. They all about spending the life on their knees for an eternity in the seas. You know what I'm saying? I don't, but it's, I've been on, and that's the crazy thing. Here's the crazy thing too about the Roman Catholics, man. I've been a part of Catholic Mass. I've attended Catholic Mass a number of times, and it's super, super pagan, right? Sit up, sit down, stand up, stand up, sit down, kneel, say what the priest is saying, repeat back to them what they're saying, do this thing, that, and the other. It's very ritualistic. It's super pagan. To me, Catholics are pagans in denial. Like, you're pagan, you're just Christianizing, in a way, pagan practices. It's all pagan ritual. It's all very pagan. And even if you look through and read the Old Testament, okay, whether it's the King James Version, or if you go back and look at, the Torah, the Judaic sacred texts, the Levitical priesthood, the things that God's people, the Israelites, were told to do, and the rituals that they were supposed to do, the sacrifices that they were supposed to make at certain times, how many turtle doves, how many goats, how many cattle, how many oxen, how many this, how many that, how much weight in gold and silver were you supposed to sacrifice, how much blood you were supposed to sacrifice, all these things. Very methodical, very specific, super pagan, but do it to the one true God. Give it to the one true God. Come on. It's all pagan rituals resurfaced, remade to give to the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. Hello, Ava. who says it's almost like certain actions create a feeling of worship in the human brain, and all religions wind up doing similar rituals. You got a good point there. On the surface, right, it is what it is, but or at least on the surface, depending on like you can look at it from that way. You can look at it from that perspective, right? Every culture, regardless of like the religion, has religious practices that adapt to that specific culture. So, you know, in the Middle East, the Israelites, you got, you know, the Judaic beliefs, you got Islamic beliefs, and then you look at like the Far East with Buddhism and Taoism and Asian things, and then you look at like the Middle East with Hinduism. You look at the Northern European, whether it's Proto-Germanic or Saxon heathenry and Scandinavian heathenry and stuff, like there's so many similarities to religious practices. It's just, well, what do you call the sacred based off of your region? You know, Don't Look Up, that's the one. Alex called it. It's we were talking about that stupid film with Leonardo DiCaprio and Jonah Hill, and over here talking about the ridiculousness of Roman Catholicism and how it's pagan denials. It's pagan that paganism that's in denial, and then boom, here comes Alex with Don't Look Up. That's the one I'm thinking of. That film. Don't Look Up. But look up and live stream it while you do it. That's the premise of it. But anyway, yeah. So like what he was saying, you know, in the religious approaches to existence, right? Like how you want to connect to your sacred beings, whether it's Grecian, whether it's Roman, Hellenistic beliefs, indigenous beliefs within other cultures throughout the world. Whatever label you put to it, whatever label you put on it, you know, you may call your god Odin, you may call your god Zeus, you may call your god, you know, Isis, you may call your god Anubis, you may call your god whatever, right? Buddha, I don't know, just anything, whatever it is. It's there's similarities, there's comparisons that you can make across multiple cultures, across all cultures, really. I mean, it's just the facts. Isn't there something called the Church of the Flying Spaghetti Monster? I mean, for goodness sake, like that's a thing. But I don't know. I really don't know. I get out here and I spout off some things sometimes, and I get into a mood or a mindset, and you know, I don't know. The realm of religious beliefs is such a touchy subject, and they say, you know, there's some basic things that you don't talk to your friends about, you know, religion and politics being some of the major ones. And I go, why not get into that? Let's stir the pot a little bit. Let's get interesting. Who the hell wants to talk about the weather? Who the hell wants to talk about this, you know, TV show, whatever? Like, oh, that's all fun and cool, but let's get stimulated, baby. Let's stimulate the mind. Let's talk about some things that really get the, you know, the mind juices flowing. That this whole 3-pound sack of nerves that reside in this bone housing up here, you know, let's do some things that really fire that bad boy up. Let's stoke the fires, kick the tires, you know what I'm saying? Let's get real with it. Let's get fun with it. Doesn't have to be hostile. Doesn't have to be me trying to make you believe in a certain thing. But let's get talking about it, man. Let's get engaged. Let's get excited about the ideas that just because I think a certain way doesn't necessarily mean that I'm right. It just feels right for me. And let me hear about what feels right for you, right? Let me hear what feels right for you, and let me digest it in a way that works for me. You know,
I think a certain way doesn't necessarily.
the only way to learn is to talk about it. Thank you, Eva. Yes, thank you. Absolutely. Kick the tires and light the fires. You already know, man. You already know.
Digest it in a way that works.
Let's get this wagon train rolling. It's the Oregon Trail, baby. You're gonna live. You're gonna die. You're gonna you ride that trail hard and heavy. You're gonna make it there, or you're not. But you're gonna learn something along the way. You're gonna carry something with you along the way, right? And that's just reality. That's just life. That's just the way it is. And that's just the way she goes. Way she goes, boys. Way she goes. You know? And it's cool. But the thing about it is, man, people don't want to talk about it. People don't want to talk because they think that they're going to offend somebody. Well, I don't want to talk about it because, you know, my thoughts and my ideas are different. And I've had that experience too, you know. I was talking with somebody today about some of my some things that I've been battling with, you know. And I'm not ashamed. I'm just gonna say it right here in front of all of you. I was talking to my therapist today. Let's normalize talking about that. Let's be real. Let's be a little bit transparent. I was talking to my therapist today. Hail and welcome, Fjalvatir. Appreciate so much of your friends. I know who that is. I know who this is. I know who this is. What's up? That we can discuss these social life topics, dialogue and stuff. So yeah, let's get visceral. Let's get real. I'm not ashamed to say I was talking to my therapist today, and I want you guys to feel okay to talk about what I'm talking about. And one of the things that I was talking about today was my spirituality. And I left it very vague and I left it very open. And I said, you know, I've experienced issues with my family who don't accept me because of my spirituality, because of my religious beliefs. And that sparked a response from my therapist to ask, you know, what were you talking about? And I said, well, you know, they're super Christian and I was raised in that. And they're like, well, you know, are they Catholic? I said, no, it's not Catholicism. It's non-denominational Christianity. And my therapist is like, well, if I can ask, you know, what's your approach? Like, what's your spirituality? And I said, I am a pagan. I am a Germanic pagan with a focus on Northern European, indigenous Northern European polytheism. She's like, that's very interesting. And I was glad, and I told my therapist, I was like, you know, I'm glad that I can speak freely about this and be open about it, because we live in an era, or we live in a society. Here we go again, right? We live in a society where everybody's so worried about what they say, and am I going to offend somebody, or is this going to hurt somebody? But I'm like, I just said it. I was like, you know, my spirituality, I was being a bit vague, and she specifically asked, and I'm like, I'm glad that I can be this transparent and talk about stuff like this, because it is important. It's important to talk about. Our Kingdom of Vinland is saying, I'm excited for the Northmen. What about y'all? Well, I'm excited about, was it the Northmen? I'm excited about Kingdom of the Last Kingdom. They finally released when the Last Kingdom new episode's going to be coming out, talking about like Uhtred of Bebbanburra, and that was a cool series. I think it's coming out in May, maybe. March or May. I'm also very excited about that movie. I think it's the Northman. It has connotations or connections to it, to an actual saga. So if that's the movie that I'm thinking of, and yes, I'm very excited for that. Opened the link, and since I was last on the Fjalvatir account, I'm chatting this way, but it's still me. Yes, it is still you, Fjalvatir. Yes, it is still you. Whichever one of you it is, I know you. I have sat in your hall, and I have drank your whiskey, your spirits, and have sat around your fires, and have sat in the waters of your well. And you are kin to me, Yalvatir. And it is good to see you in this virtual environment. It's good to be in this virtual company, with you. But yeah, I don't know. I just, I get fired up and I get passionate about these sort of things. But I also am very keen and connected on my role, my existence, my part in this world. I was talking to my therapist today about it, and it's funny, I never thought that I would be one of those people. I never thought that I would be like, oh, I was talking to my therapist today and realize certain things, because I've touched on so many different things with my spirituality across like platforms like this, where I've just talked to the void, the virtual void. I know there's people out here that listen and are engaging like we are right now, but the virtual void, where it's like I'm not talking to anybody per se at the moment, just talking at people. It's kind of like this TED Talk, as it were. But having like an outsider's perspective, or an unbiased opinion, or an unbiased person to just be the recipient of my talkings and my ramblings, as it were, has been very therapeutic. Unlike anything that I thought it would be. But it like talking through some of the things, like I was talking about, my involvement, my existence with the world around me. And it's really only in my nearly 40 years of life on this planet reached a point in the last 4 or 5 months where I'm like, little old me here really don't mean shit. Like, I'm a small part of a big picture, a very small part. And whatever ripple I can create in the pond or the waters that impact the surroundings around me is what I make of it. It's what I do. But ultimately, it's like, I'm not that big of a deal. And I only ever really realized that within like the last 4 or 5 months. Like, I'm gonna be real. I'm gonna be transparent with you guys. Like, I'm serious. I hit a point, and I reached a point. I came to a point where that part of myself, that ego, died. I used an analogy in my therapy where it was like a vine growing up a tree, and the vines take over the tree, and the vine becomes itself. The vine becomes the tree, but the tree is still underneath. It's not like the vine is the tree. It's the vine becomes a representation of the tree, but the vine took over the tree's life to be what it is. And that's where my ego took over at a certain point. It's like all of your tenderness, your compassion, your empathy, your human elements of good things, things that help build up the community, build up the people around you, was choked out by this vine, by this vileness, by this, bitterness, by this anger, by all these terrible things. And that vine had to be chopped away and cut away. And that was that ego death. That was what that moment was for me several months. I say more than several months, but back in November, where that's what died. Me as a person, me as an individual exist, but the purest form of me is what was under all of that shit. The vine that choked out the life of the tree. The Northman seems to be inspired several sagas Yeah, Ocean Keltoy did a video. Yeah, I'm familiar with that video. That's what I'm talking about. And yes, I'm excited about that. Fialvatier says it's more common in the community than people think. Look toward the roles and responsibilities of the Goldie, the Givya, the Vitki, and others, serving at times a very similar role in counselor and therapist. You're right. And I mentioned this in my last podcast. You know, it's like I can't take care of anyone else if I can't take care of myself. Like I can't be of service, first of all, to my family. I can't be of service to my wife, you know, to my in-laws, my nearest and dearest, my tribe. I can't be of service to them if I'm not taking care of myself first and foremost. And the pride that I had about reaching out to a third party, you know, a therapist, that sort of thing, it was due to the ego that I had and refused to let go of. I wouldn't talk to a therapist because I thought, well, what can they possibly do for me? I'm me, I'm Jesse, I'm this, I'm that, I can figure out my own shit. You know? And that ritual, that journey that I took in November killed that part of me, you know. It did. It cut that vine that choked out the life of me, because that part of me took over to a point that it wasn't healthy. And it was a needed death. It was an ego death that was needed. And when you come back from that experience, from that immediate experience, you're changed forever. Like I've mentioned before, like I challenge anybody to have ever experienced anything similar or like what I've experienced before to ever be the same again. You're not the same again. Your outlook, your views, your perceptions, your perspective is different and changed for the good, I think, in many ways, because you get that violent reset. And I don't know, for me it was back to the basics, you know, back to that child who was not afraid to be compassionate and was not afraid to be empathetic and was not afraid to cry and was not afraid to, you know, express those emotions. I've come to a point here lately where it's like, it's not even about being a man, you know, being macho, being, you know, you got to be strong because you're a man. It's like humanity, the essence of life, the existence of human life is more than gender roles anymore. And I know that may seem like, oh, it's 2022. What are you know, non-binary, whatever. No, it's not about that. It's about the fact that I embrace the essence of life around me that is both masculine and feminine, and encourage and welcome in those feelings where and when they fit. You know, sometimes as a man, you've got to be strong, and you've got to be stoic, and you've got to be that support, you've got to be that leader, you've got to be that support system. And then at times, when the time is right, you need to allow the feelings. You got to embrace your femininity as well, the compassion, the love, the sanctuary, the care, the nurturing thing. Like that's part of being a man too, guys. Like that's, just because you're loving and compassionate, like doesn't make you any less of a man, you know. Like you can be Dranger, you can be macho. Like if you want, we were talking about earlier about like Sam Elliott, like that dude was born like the whole Dranger thing, the whole like manliest of men. Watch that movie Conager from like the 70s or whatever, where he was in, you know, he was loving, he was compassionate, he was the most macho manliest of cowboy men back then, just like he is now. Like he envelops that role so perfectly. And
he was loving, he was compassionate,
you know,
he was the most
being manly doesn't, in being that strong doesn't mean you're callous, doesn't mean that you're cold.
he envelops that.
It means that you're strong, and you're able to connect with things in a way that
Being manly doesn't
again, it transcends gender identity for me. It's like, you know what, sometimes I'm just really emotional, sometimes I'm just like so
with things in a way that
connected to,
again, it transcends gender.
the primal feelings, the primal emotions of life.
It's like,
When it's cold, when it's hot, when it's time to be mad, when it's time to be loving, when it's time to be happy, when it's time to be compassionate. Like, it doesn't, it goes beyond my gender at that point. It just goes into about being a sentient being, a living being, a human being. But more than just that. King Vinland says we're definitely getting into the human condition. Oh shit, yeah. The human condition, man, just the human experience, the sentient being experience, the sentient being condition. Don't forget the vines, when cared for, can bear fruit and to benefit. I'm looking at Fjalvatir's comment. We wouldn't have wine if we didn't learn to grow grapes. Yes, 100%. I'm talking more about those invasive vines, like the ivy, that sort of thing, that just kind of like choke out and take over. Some of those wood vines, like I'm from the north, where wood vines just would literally choke out a tree and kill the life of the tree, because it would suck out the life of it and become its own thing. It was almost like this large oak tree was dead now, and the only living thing about it was this wood vine. Goes back to what I was talking about earlier in the live stream about the savage nature of the wild. And you can't control the wild. When you put yourself out into the wild, you are part of the game now. And you got to play the game. And the rules of the game are whatever the fuck happens, and you got to fucking deal with it. That's the rule of nature, man. It's the law of the jungle, baby. First rule of the jungle is there are no rules. It's like Fight Club, right? First rule of Fight Club is you don't talk about Fight Club. But yeah, like, I don't know. It's primal. It gets deep into things where expressing it, talking about it, takes a little bit of extra time to process and express it. Fjalvatir says, in my opinion, there is nothing more manly than to be a good father. And to be a good father, things like compassion, gentleness, empathy are most required. Yes. Yes. And that's actually one of the things, getting into the whole realness of this live stream, is I am not a father. And that's actually one of the things I've had the opportunity or the chance to potentially become a father, and have been denied that opportunity for whatever reason. Reasons that I can't pinpoint. Like, it is what it is. However, I am an uncle. And the role of an uncle, even in ancient times, you look at some of the correlations of the gods and the sacred figures and the importance of the uncle role in Germanic societies and other societies as well, as they are like a father. Even in ancient times. And some of the correlations of the gods and the sacred figures and hopes and fears go hand in hand. and I'm going to get a bit vague when I talk about this right now, but hopes and fears go hand in hand. And it's, sometimes the things that you hope for are also the same things that you fear. And the things that you fear can be the same things that you hope for. And I've learned that recently as well. I hold a very unique position amongst my nearest and dearest, the people who I consider my family, my extended family, my kin, my tribe. And part of that role encompasses and includes that of that uncle, role. That there's that dynamic that's inserted, and it becomes a part of it. And you're not the lead manly role. You're not the father. But you're a fatherly type. You influence the young ones in that role. They look up to you. They look to you as inspiration, and they look to you as a source of strength, and as a place of comfort, and as a place of sanctuary, in a way. They know that they're safe when they're with you. And that is a huge responsibility. When I hold my niece, and when I hold my nephew, or when I look at them and I say their names and I talk to them and they look at me and they smile, in their most purest, genuine way, express their joy. They can't speak, they can't talk, but they smile and they express that amount of joy. There's no words that can I guess be used to describe the feeling that I have when I see that. When I sit with them and I look at them and they babble on in their own little way, when they say the things that they say and they talk in the way that they talk. It may seem like innate babble, but it's tone. When they say what they say, when they express what they express, I know what they're feeling. I can feel it because they share that moment with me, and I share that moment with them, and it's beautiful. It's timeless. It's a moment captured in time that you'll never forget, and I'll never forget. I'm looking at some of the comments that have come through. There's an invasive species of vine in North Carolina that covers practically everything in the part of the state that I was in, and at the time my family was visiting the Smoky Mountains. I mean, mountain laurel. Look at how much the mountain laurel takes over. It's a beautiful, indigenous fauna, I guess you might call it. Tree, bush, whatever. But it does. It takes over everything. Of course, Velveteer is in North Carolina, the Roaring Gap of North Carolina. Yes. The darkest cave is always the most frightening to enter. Yeah. But man, gotta go, Alex. Cool. Good to see you, and thank you for tuning into the live stream. We're gonna wrap this up here soon anyway. But yeah, the darkest cave is always the most frightening to enter. But isn't it amazing how much the darkness, I don't know, comforts as well, like the void, the unknown. It's almost like, I don't know, at least for me, it's like I'm not afraid as like in trepidation of the dark. It's a fear out of respect. It's like I don't know what it is, but I'm taking that chance and I'm going into it to find something. You can find a lot in the dark. Flora of the plants. Yeah, you're right. I said fauna, flora and fauna. Yeah, you're right. Faun, fae. Yeah. Um, Thank you for the correction there, Kingdom of Inland. I was thinking along those lines and misrepresented the terminology. So thank you for that correction. But yeah, I don't know, man. Like, there's an appeal to the dark. You fear it in a way. You because of the unknown, right? Because you can't see, and for the most part, there is fear in the unknown, and you can't. You fear what you can't see, and you fear what you don't understand and what you don't know. But it intrigues me, and not so much of just like the curiosity aspects of the darkness, like, ooh, what's that? It's almost like I'm cautious, but I'm also not apprehensive. Because I've been in that place. I've been in the deep, dark void. I've traveled there, and it wasn't so bad. It was alarming. It was sobering, I guess you could say. It would be a good word to use. It was like I was put in my place, you know. I was made to realize what who I was at the moment. Like, sit down, little boy. You're playing with the big boys now. You're sitting amongst the elders now, and you need to sit down, and you need to learn something. And Oz helps explore those dark places. Absolutely, the illuminating torch, you know. But man, when you put yourself out into that sort of place, and when you decide to venture out into those realms, you're leaving you're leaving the relative comfort of profane space. So if you're not at least prepared to venture off into those unknown places, you're gonna have a rough time. You're gonna have a bad time. You know, don't fuck around with it. You know, it's super amazing. It's there's a lot of healing that takes place when you approach this sort of thing. But don't take it lightly, and don't approach it lightly. Approach it with respect, I guess, would be the right way to put it. You know, don't just Conor McGregor saunter into there all cocky and whatever, but don't take it lightly, but come into it as if you were presenting yourself to a king or to any sort of, you know, exalted sacred figure. You know, you come in humble adoration, as it were. You know, just know that you're gonna see some things, man, and you're gonna see some stuff. it just happens. Wonder how firemen would have changed, or firearms. Sorry, wonder how firearms would have changed Viking society. I think the Vikings, I think the people who would have raided different areas at the time, if they had, you know, gunpowder and firearms at the time, I think it would have strongly shifted the advancement of colonization and stuff like that. Can you imagine if the Northmen would have come in there with, you know, firearms instead of shields and spears and axes? It'd have been a game changer. Always been more afraid of things that, you know, are going to turn out badly but can't stop. The dark is just unknown. Yeah, the dark is unknown. It's a void, you know. I don't know what's going on behind me or what's going on in front of me because it's so dark. You know, what happens out there just happens, and you know how you put if you put yourself into that mix. You know, you're taking a chance. Right here at the end again, Astrid. This is a random one. Like, I mean, this is very random, and yes, we are coming into the end of it, but fortunately there will be the playback that you can refer back to and catch up on. We've been a bit all over the place tonight, you know, and I appreciate everyone's inclusion and involvement. You know, we're listening to some Donheim. We're getting into some weird mysticism things. We got Fjallvatir here. We got Kingdom of Vinland. Now we got Ava and Astrid here. So hail and thank you to all of my honored guests here on this live stream. It's a very random live stream. Like I said, I don't plan these. This was just kind of like a random thing. If you would like to see more of these, if you would like to be a part of something like this, let me know. Let me know in the comments after the live stream is done. You know, if you want to see more of stuff like this, I would like to maybe think about doing these again. You know, I talked earlier about what I do on this channel. The podcasts are much more manageable for me on a weekly basis, but maybe we do, you know, a bi-weekly live stream, and we just get up here and we get real with it all, you know, just rap about some stuff, see where people's minds are at, you know, and really ramble on about some things. You know, podcasts are great. I have fun with that, and I appreciate everyone's feedback and you know, saying that you enjoy listening to it. But these can be fun too. And I appreciate. I really do. I appreciate being able to read comments and respond to things. Kingdom of Vinland says he thinks that fear of the dark isn't a fear of the dark itself, but rather a fear of what is in the dark. And it's a fear of the unknown. Yeah, absolutely. Because what is there to fear about what you can't see beyond what you don't know what's there? Because, I mean, there could be nothing. So, but what if there is? What if there is something? What if it's going to grab me? What if it's going to take me? What if it's going to eat me? What if it's going to bite me? What if it's going to... What if, right? The what ifs. If is such a powerful word for just two letters, you know? Trading so aloof for Perthrow when venturing into the dark. Yalvatir, you speak of things that I am chomping on now. Quite the interesting live stream. Well, thank you, Kingdom of Vinland. It's good to see you commenting back and being a part of it. As a reminder, my podcasts are usually released every Thursday morning at 9 a.m. Eastern time. So wherever you are in the world, if you're catching this live stream or if you're watching it back again, just remember that the Midgard Musings Random Heathen Ramblings podcast, which is a Midgard Musings production, because I'm doing it, and it's just little old me over here. So it's a Midgard Musings production, and it gets, you know, released every Thursday morning at 9 a.m. on all of your major podcast streaming sites: Spotify, Pandora, iHeartRadio, Google, and Apple Podcasts, and many, many more, including here on YouTube. The Albatir says you are glad that you caught this one. Your schedule is so sporadic. There's the word. I could read it, I could look at it, but I'm like, letters, they form a word, and that word is yeah. So sporadic. But thank you so much, Fjallvatir. Let me just say, my brother. Fjallvatir.com, guys. The Fjallvatir Workshop on Facebook. If you follow what I do on any of my social media, you've seen the drum, you've seen the runes, you've seen other tribal relics that have come on behalf of Fjallvatir, who's who's commenting here in the live chat.
If you follow what I do on any of
Follow
the
Fjallvatir on social media. Fjallvatir Workshop on Facebook and Instagram, fjallvatir.com.
who's commenting here in the live chat.
Any of your ritual needs can be met and achieved by working with Fjallvatir. I can speak nothing of great things on their behalf. Beautiful people, wonderful hosts, amazing craftsmanship, genuine, loving, caring, superb. I mean, just great individuals to work with. Hello, Max, and hello. Recently found this channel and are obsessed with its content. Well, thank you, Max. I appreciate that. So thank you so much for your support. If you want to see more, be sure that you're subscribed to the channel. I do weekly podcasts called Random Heathen Ramblings. I again broadcast on all major podcast streaming sites like Spotify and Pandora and iHeartRadio and Google and Apple Podcasts, in here on YouTube. But yeah, definitely appreciate your support. Anything that you see on this channel that you have questions about, if you comment on a video, I do my best to respond and reply. Really appreciate your support, and thank you for tuning in. It's wonderful, and I greatly appreciate it. So this will definitely be one for the books of 2022. The very first live stream on YouTube for 2022, as a matter of fact. So I want to say thank you to all of my honored guests here in the live stream. Kingdom of Vinland, Max. Now we've got Astrid, we've got Fjallvatir, we've got Ava, of course, Odin's Beard Woodworking, who's been here for a while, Alex, Patrick Walsh, and everybody who may be watching and just not commenting. Your inclusion, your participation, your support is genuinely and greatly appreciated. First time catching me live, says DK Ironworks. Well, hail and thank you, DK Ironworks, for being one of the first live stream watchers. These are very rare anymore. I used to stream a lot back in the day, but they're a bit more rare. But I do upload weekly podcast episodes on this channel, so if you want to catch it, be sure to subscribe and turn on notifications, so that way you know when I do put out new content. My podcast videos go up every Thursday morning at 9 a.m. Eastern, 8 p.m. or 8 a.m. Central. So that's 6 a.m. Pacific. And if you're on like Europe and the UK and all that out there, you just got to adjust. But really fun conversation tonight. Dialogue, just I had a great time. I'm glad to be able to do this, and I'm glad to have supporters and followers and friends that are interested in stuff like this. So the way that you can support this channel is to check out the description area. There's a Linktree link with all of my social media contacts for Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and any other way that you want to support. You can become a channel member on this YouTube channel. You can become a patron on Patreon. You can buy merchandise through the Spring Store. All of that is linked through the Linktree link that's in the description. So be sure to check it out, see what fits you, and yeah, I think that about sums it all up. So I want to just say thank you to everyone that's been here for the last however long. Don't forget to like this video, share it around, because the more people that we can bring into this virtual community, the better. Had a great time tonight. Thank you all so much for your support. Until we talk again, whether it be on the next podcast or in a future live stream, hail to you all. May the gods walk with you. May your ancestors continue to smile upon you and walk with you as well. And may your hearth fires always burn bright. Thank you so much for tonight's inclusion in this stream. Take care and stay safe and healthy.